Welcome back everyone. In this lesson we are going to try to make some improvements to our Playwright runner, and more specifically what we will try to do is come up with some custom logic so we don't have to call the constructor for each page we add to this Playwright runner class. Now as you can see right now, if I need to add a new class, and imagine that if you try to automate an application as complex as Best Buy, you would need to have a lot of page object models. So you'll have a lot of page classes over here. You can have, I don't know, 40, 50 or something like that. And you wouldn't want to write the same initialization each time you add a new class. So let's try to figure out a way to make this better. Now, if we look at the fields in our class, you can see that on top of storing these Playwright pages, we also have some other objects over here. And we need to figure out a way to identify which of those fields are actually pages. One way of doing that would be if you'd look at the name of the class, but this is more like a convention because someone might call his class, his page object model class, something different than page, and in that case your logic wouldn't work. So in order to make this more explicit, what I would do is actually create an annotation and then decorate each page object, each page that you declare over here as a field with that annotation. So let's do that right now. I'm going to add a new package under Java. I will call this one annotations. And I'm going to add a new custom annotation over here. I'm going to choose annotation and I'm going to call this one Playwright page. Perfect. Now we need to add two more annotations over here. We need to declare the retention. So the retention for our case will be runtime. Okay, and then we also need to specify the target for this. We are going to use it for fields. So the element type is going to be field, because we will annotate the fields in our Playwright runner with this. And that's all for the custom annotation. Now let's go ahead to our Playwright runner and start decorating our pages. So for the first one, I'm going to use custom annotation, and then for the account navigation again, I'm going to call this annotation. Perfect. So now we have a clear way of knowing which fields are pages and which are not. Next, let's figure out a way to call the constructor for each field we have declared over here, and each field that has this annotation. So in order to do that, I'm going to use something called refection in Java. And I'm going to write the custom logic. For now, I'm going to write it in my setup method over here. So let's go ahead and remove these two fields over here. Now first, what I need to do is get a reference to the class. So to do that, I'm going to call this getClass, and when I run the test, this will actually refer to the test that I'm running. So if I run the sign-up test, this will refer to the sign-up test. But I want to get a reference to the Playwright runner because this is the class that has all the fields, all the pages in it. So I need to call here getSuperClass. Okay, and let's store this reference. like so. Okay, so now what I need to do is try to iterate through all the fields of this class. So I'm going to write a for statement. It will actually be a for each. So for each field in my declared fields, what I'm going to do is check if my field is annotated, has the Playwright annotation present. Perfect. And if that happens, then I need to call the constructor for that page. So I need to set the field. So let's set the field, and I'm going to pass the reference of the test, and then also I need to pass the value. The value in our case we'll try to get the type of, we need to figure out which constructor to call, and because you might have multiple constructors, so get constructor, and this takes as an argument an array of parameter types. So in order to figure out which constructor to call, we need to specify the number and types of arguments for that constructor. So to do that, I'm going to declare it right here. If you remember, our constructor only takes the page as an argument, and this needs to be an array. Okay, now I'm going to pass this parameter types array over here, and then I need to call a new instance of this and pass a reference and pass the actual page instance that I'm going to use, which will be the page over here. Now this, I believe, will throw some errors, so I need to surround it with a try catch, and also I will need to, let's collapse all this I don't want to throw it, I want to collapse it. Okay. Okay, this seems fine. And if everything goes wrong, I'm going to post a message over here saying that did not manage to call constructor for Playwright page. Okay, and maybe it will also make sense to indicate the actual name of that page. So I will do it like so, with name. We will add maybe some better logging afterwards, but for now this should work. Field get name, so this will return the name of the field. So if it breaks for a specific page, I will know which one it is. Okay, this seems fine so far. Let's try to give this a run. Let's see if it actually works. So let's first run it, and then I will explain in more detail what's happening. So first I'm going to debug this. Let's actually let it run until here. to check that we have the same functionality. And you can see that it actually works. So the test has the same functionality. Okay, let me go for the custom logic that we have over here. So let me put a breakpoint over here, debug it again. So as I said, when you run the test, this will actually refer to the test. As you see, this is sign up test. So in order to get access to the fields, I need to get the superclass. The superclass is the Playwright runner. And then the declared fields the declared fields of the superclass are all the fields that we declared on it. Perfect. And that's about it. What I want to do next, let me stop this. I would want to move this to a separate method, all the logic that we've written over here. So to do that, I'm going to create here public void. Actually, this can be private, because we will only call it from the context of the setup method. I'm going to move all this logic from here to this method, and I need to pass object and the page. Okay, we need pages, and pass this and the page from here. And here, instead of this, I'm going to use the object that I passed from here. Okay. So now we moved all the logic in a separate method, just so our code will be easier to read. Okay, so how does this help us? So if we create any new pages over here, in order to have access to them in our test, you just need to declare it over here. So use the annotation, and then add your new page over here, and then you're done. You don't need to initialize it anymore. It will know how to call the constructor automatically by using the magic from this method. Again, what it will do, it will scan for all the fields that have this annotation, and then it will try to call a constructor for that specific field, set the field, and call the constructor of the corresponding class that has the argument of page, because all our pages will have an explicit constructor that take this page as an argument. And this is the way we can pass this page from Playwright to all our page objects in our application when we run a test. I hope this makes sense for everyone.